Developing landscape onto an A5 card. Let's start with the sky. Now lots of white wax, because white is the liquid that's going to represent the light. And then some pink, some blue, and a bit of darker blue. Don't put too much colour on, because it's very easy to get too dark. And it's easier to drag the iron towards yourself than across the paper, I find. You can work both ways, just each time looking to see how well the sky's developed. When you like it, stop. Landscape. This is the olive green and a dark brown. And you place the iron down and then just gently watch that top edge and go right the way off the card. Zigzag back and forth underneath. And then fill in what remains with some of the olive green, the dark green colour. Now you can add extra colours, so these are colours already in the landscape, and I'm going to dab those down onto the bottom here, and you get this wonderful effect, but you also get wonderful iron marks, and I don't want those. So learn to bend the card by putting your fingers behind. Practice this because it really does help your technique. For grasses, using the edge of the iron and pushing through, and you can probably see light colour there, and that's dribbling from inside the iron. It's some of the wax that was left from the sky. So clean that off, and then take a block of the dark olive green wax and run the edge of the iron through that. Pick colour up. And when you do that, you then get stronger lines in your artwork. A little bit of pink on the point, and just sort of randomly dab it. If you see dirt coming out, remember to clean the iron. Got a drip there, doesn't matter. Take it as it comes as you're working. Being random is quite difficult, so just dot some dots of wax around. Take a bit of darker colour to highlight it. And then, without adding any further wax, I'm just going to make a few more little lines here. These are much fainter, and they give the impression of being further away because they're smaller as well. Remember, it's all an illusion. For the bird, you take a spot of wax, flick one way, flick the other way. Lightly polish. This is just with a tissue pad, and there you have stage one. We could leave it there. But let's look at something else. This is the drawing tip. And this drawing tip has a threaded end, and it's a key tool because it allows you to make lines and spots and graphics. And it fits into this tool, which is the Stylus Pro. Encaustic Art Stylus Pro. Just tighten it up, then switch it on. Now the controls are off, basic normal working temperature, boost temperature, normal temperature, off. And you can see that little red light shines when it's on. Just rest the drawing tip onto the block of wax and watch that split, the gap filling up with wax as it melts. Now it's loaded and ready to work. Just touch that split onto the paper or card and start. Lines, spots. You can take further colours and fill in areas. And obviously if the colours are different, you can blend them. The drawing tip is really a key tool. It's so very useful because you can work inside drawings. When you use the iron, you're always working on quite a large scale, although you've got the point and the edge. But with the drawing tip in the stylus, you can do very, very fine details. You can elaborate things, you can blend. And it's very relaxing. So this is a Stylus Pro with the drawing tip on the low temperature. Now I'm going to use it to put in some fence posts here because what we're creating is an illusion of depth. There's no depth, it's a flat card with some wax on it. But we're trying to get the brain to feel like there's depth, somewhere to go. And these upright posts, which are getting closer and smaller as they go along, make the brain feel that they're receding. I'm going to put a big one here. The drawing tip's very useful for detail, but sometimes the brush is useful too. Let's clean the drawing tip first. Just take a tissue and squeeze. And you can see now that pretty much all the wax is gone, but if you take some clear wax, can you see how it's washing out all the dirt that was still hiding in that gap in the split? To change the tip, switch the tool off, grip it in a tissue and turn the handle. This will twist the cable, but I still find it the easiest way to do it. So it's got a light cable on it, so it's easy to twist. Then pick up the tip and carefully start to screw it in. Hold it, and I'm turning the stylus backwards again to unravel that cable. Then switch it back on. You can see the brush wires are very fine. They can bend, you can make different shapes. And the easiest way to fill this is to rest the heel, the brass heel of the tool, of the brush head, into the wax and let it dribble down. What you don't want to do is press those delicate fibres too hard into the wax, or you'll damage them and sort of crumple them up. So each time I'm filling up, I'm just resting the heel of that brush. In this style of work, the heated tools are fusing all the colours together at application, so no later fusing is necessary. Because it's a hot tool, it's going to melt through the wax and mix with the colours underneath. So I can take white and I can add that down the edge of this post to give a little highlight, because the light's coming from where the birds are in that picture. This is a scribing tool. It's got a pointed end and it's got a bladed end. It's made of metal and it's for scraping and scratching the wax. And what I'm going to do here is just to put in a very fine, very subtle actually, wire or set of wires on this fence line. It all helps the illusion along. Cleaning by scrabbling on the background paper there. By scrabbling I just mean rest it on the paper, drag it backwards and twist to clean it. So that's my fence in. Time for dragonflies. So back to the Stylus Pro with the drawing tip. And for dragonflies, they're like double-decker birds. You make a spot and you do 2 lines in one direction, twist the card, and 2 in the other. And it's a bit like the hands of a clock, looking at sort of 10 to 2, a smiley face. And then take a bit of colour, and if you can put a curve into the tail of your dragonfly, into the body of it, it'll look more alive, more active. So same thing, silver wings and then a red body. Maybe, is that enough? And that's another thing, when you're working, always be looking at the work you're doing and ask yourself when enough is enough. Or does it need something else? So here my final dragonfly. A little bit more colour in there. And then I think it's done. Polish it with a tissue pad. Just follow a bit of tissue and there we are. Complete. Final landscape.